talked a lot about, their off season and, how everything has gone. He talked about Kyrie and he talked about Kevin Durant, and he had another, I actually appreciated his quote about Kyrie. It gave some insight into, at least where they are mentally with the organization and with everything that's happened with Kyrie. But then he just went back with it with this comment about Kevin Durant. And here he is on KD being their best player development coach.
I think Kevin Durant is our best player development coach. Like, if you watch him and how he competes in practice and how he competes in shoot-arounds, everything is game speed. Just follow him. I mean, I can imagine when I was a 19, 20-year-old kid, having the opportunity to, play alongside or shoot in the same drill as a guy like Kevin or Kai, and you see that they go at game speed and you see how they want to master their craft. That's pretty special.
Yeah, but they're not Kevin Durant. So that's the difference. The reason why Kevin Durant can do that is because he's Kevin Durant, one of the all-time greatest players in NBA history. So yes, should you mirror what someone like Kevin Durant does, the effort level that he gives, the speed in which he practices, all those things? Yes. But this is my problem with how the Nets word things. It matters. They do have quite a few actual development coaches, assistant coaches on the team. And this has been the mantra with the Nets from the beginning of this whole experiment. This is Kyrie and KD on not needing a coach.
Coach, he said I was the first person to call him Coach Nash, but I call him Steve. Steve is great, and I have a relationship with him that's going to build over time, bro. And I think it's also going to change the way we see coaches. I don't really see us having a head coach. You know what I mean? Like, KD could be a head coach. I could be a head coach.
Jacques Vaughn could do it one day. It's a collaborative effort, I think, on our part.
No, it's not. You got swept in the first round and you were a 7 seed. So clearly you need some coaching. Proves absolutely nothing. Not reinventing how basketball is done. Coaches have actual jobs and real roles. And good coaching is being exhibited in this postseason at the highest level and why it's necessary. It completely undermines Steve Nash. This comment by Sean Marks undermines everything else that the Nets are doing. You are not developing anything. You are not building anything. Good, well-run organizations actually have excellent player development coaches. You see that with the Warriors. They take young players and develop them into the best version of what they are. They don't take young players and turn them into Kevin Durant because there's only one Kevin Durant. These players are not running scouts. They're not putting together game plans and rotations. They're not studying analytics. There are jobs for this. We see this time and time again with organizations who try and come out here and do this. How has this worked out for the Cowboys, Jerry Jones being involved in everything that's going on? They've won 3 playoff games in 25 years. There are specific roles within organizations that lead you to success. Anything that is well run and produces success is because great people are in their roles and do it to the highest level. And people trust them to do their jobs. They trust the coach to be the coach. They trust the player development coaches for their nutritional plans and for their rehab plans and for their training plans and to read their scouts and study what they're supposed to do in each game. It's not a flippant thing to say that we have no structure within our organization when it comes to coaching. Or you could do what you do and you got swept in the first round. So that option is also on the table. Let's talk to RJ Young on if name, image, and likeness rights are a good or bad thing for college sports. That's next on The Herd.
Is the Herd Line News.
Well, Kyrie Irving has been a big topic of conversation for the Nets this season, and GM Sean Marks addressed the questions surrounding the team's commitment to Kyrie in the future.
We haven't had any of those discussions yet, so it'd be unfair for me to comment on, how it looks with us and Kyrie, because to be quite frank, he has some decisions to make on his own. So he has to look at what he's going to do with his player option and so forth like that. But I think we know what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that want to come in here, be part of something bigger than themselves, play selfless, play team basketball, and be available. And that goes not only for Kyrie, but for everybody here.
Now, I'm going to start with some of the things that we know. Okay, we do know that Kyrie only played in 29 games this season due to his vaccination status. The season before, he missed time due to personal reasons. So Kyrie has played in 83 of 154 games the past 2 seasons. That is just 53% of the games. That's not a great availability percentage for an employee, especially. if this group and this team is wanting to be a championship team. The thing is, you got to know what you were getting into when you get Kyrie. He's always kind of been in his own world of an athlete. He's a great athlete when he's there. You can tell he wants to win when he's there. But you have to know what you're getting with it. And you just have to kind of really sit back as an organization and say, do we want to invest? And again, this is the organization's choice. They obviously made that choice with his last contract. But is this an employee, an athlete, a cornerstone of our franchise that we want to invest a lot of time and money and effort into?
Yeah, 5 years, $247 million, I think.
It's a lot. Yeah. So no one can really answer that except for the Nets. Kyrie's made it known that he wants to run it back with them. He wants to keep it going. He wants to stay there a long time.
Well, yeah, he wants 5 years max contract.
Yeah.
I would too. But the problem with that is, as you just mentioned, 53%, that's a little slight touch over half the time. So half the time you're supposed to be at work,
That's
you're not
crazy.
there. You choose not to be there.
Any other, unless it's an injury, that's a different story. You
But that's
can't
not it. That's not
physically
what's
be
happening.
there.
If you are injured, that's missing time for you. You physically cannot perform. You're choosing not to go. You are deciding not to go to work for almost half of the time that you're supposed to be at work.
Any other field, any other profession, that would not be tolerated. That would be gone in a moment.
No. And the talent level, this is what I always argue when people are unavailable. For whatever reason you're unavailable. The talent level is irrelevant if you aren't available for a majority of the time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how great you are. If you're not there, you are not providing the greatness.
No.
So it takes you down to a different level of player when you're not available. And whatever you think of Kyrie's decision not to play, that's on you. You can have that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if I choose not to come to work for half the time that I'm supposed to be at work, I'm not going to get another opportunity to keep working here.
No. I don't see how you could. It's not smart business.
And it wouldn't be the case at any business.
No. It's just not smart business.
Not smart business. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
How can you rely on someone? How can you plan around them? How can you establish chemistry? How can you get momentum when someone is not there? So if I'm the Nets, it's not a question to me if I'm not bringing back Kyrie. I'm not bringing back Kyrie.
Yeah.
I'm not investing a 5-year max contract in Kyrie because the talent level doesn't matter when you're not there. That it cancels each other out.
Yeah.
We've seen this time and time again with really talented players who are unavailable. It crashes everything. Yeah. And it doesn't have anything to do with who he is as a person or what he represents or what he believes in. Do you?
Oh,
but
yeah, 100%.
What happens in these situations when people want to do them is they have this idea that I can do and say whatever I want to do, but you are not allowed to react however you want to react to what I say and do. It's the consequences thing that I was talking about earlier. It's this free speech thing, which, by the way, free speech is not what you think it is. It's actually a very simple concept. It just means the government can't, persecute you for things that you say. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you can say and do whatever you want without any consequences. That is a fantasy. But that's what it is. It's like I can do and say whatever I want, but you guys aren't free to react to what I do and say. And that's not reality, and it's certainly not reality in business. So whatever you think of what Kyrie did, his choice affected the team. They were a 7 seed, and they got swept in the first round. So the consequences are there. There is evidence that this was a failure. So if you're a championship team, you can't run that back. You don't care about winning championships, do what you want.
It's also hard to have a personal selfish situation when you're involved in a team atmosphere.
Well, yeah, that's everything.
That's everything.
That's everything.
It's not about you. It's about the collective group.
If you work for Kyrie,
different.
Then that's different.
Completely
but
different.
This is a team. Yeah. And you are as you mentioned, a cornerstone piece. You're the second superstar on this team. If you're not going to be there, and that we have to find bodies that will be on the floor.
Yes.
And that's not the case with Kyrie. You just can't trust that he's going to be there.
Yeah, 53%.